Hello again, guys. I got an interesting smartwatch to take a look at today. This is the Basis Peak. From what I understand, the Basis Peak is a collaboration between Intel and other companies that I cannot remember. Basis is probably the name of the company. But they reached out to me and said, hey, you've looked at a few smartwatches. Why haven't you looked at this one? We'll send one out to you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this out of the package. I've gone ahead and switched over to my fancy white sheet background so you can actually see what's going on. There's some info here about setup, mybasis.com/setup. I'll definitely be going there here in a bit, probably. And it looks like you get started here on the front. There's a little arrow and some very strong tape. But I will not be defeated. I succeeded. And the watch didn't go flying, so we win. All right, first glance, not bad. We're not gonna look at the watch just yet. You gotta save that for later. Little delayed gratification, as it were. Oh, little black box, secret box. What is in the box? Of course, micro USB charging cable. What I would assume is the micro USB sync cradle, so probably fits around the back of it. There's a little card here in a bunch of languages that says, as we said on the tape, go to mybasis.com/setup to actually set it up. And that is that, short, sweet, and to the point. As for the watch itself, you can see here I have the black model. The band is black and red. Definitely a big fan of that. As you can see by my red pebble, but we'll go ahead and take that off for right now so we don't blaspheme too much. But they had black and white options available, and for straps they had a bunch of different ones ranging from like blue and green and purple and red and whatever else. We're gonna go ahead and peel this off though, make you guys day. Stick this on my forehead, that ain't gonna work. So first impressions, just looking at it as a watch. The face is a little big, it's a little wide. Let's blaspheme just a little bit and put it right up next to the Pebble Time. Pebble Time is a little bit big. It's not huge. This is just slightly wider, and the Pebble Time is actually slightly taller. So it's more, it almost looks more like a 16:9 ratio, which is not necessarily a bad thing. The band is very, very smooth. It almost feels like it's got a powder on the outside of it, but I don't feel any powder coming off. I like the feel. Here on the back, you've got your heart rate sensor. It's actually ever so slightly raised there, if you can see that. Let's see how it works on the wrist. Get in there. Get in there. There we go. Not bad at all. Now the thing I'm immediately noticing about it is it does not have any buttons on it. So there's not gonna be a way to turn it on. If I had to guess, I'm obviously gonna have to go to mybasis.com/setup and actually go through the setup process before we can continue. So let me do that and we'll be right back, even though it might be days and days. So just to keep you guys in the loop, I went to setup.mybasis.com. I actually went ahead and plugged the watch in and it told me go to setup.mybasis.com and it said download the app, install the app, set up an account. So I've installed the app on this device. This is the Blue Vivo 5. We'll walk through the setup process. Let's get started. There's info about charging the device. You see your peak charging. Say yes. Here's the basics. You're gonna have to actually set up an account, and you don't need all the specifics, but after that, it goes into the scanning for your peak thing. It says keep nearby. It's over there. Hopefully it'll be okay. There's only one here, so I can assume that it will be. All right, it did say updating firmware and restarting. I had to actually put it over near the watch and tell it to try again, because for whatever reason, it didn't immediately find it. I probably shouldn't have it over here. It did just buzz though, so I'm guessing that it's updating and restarting. We'll be right back. So I've spent a little bit of time with the device at this point, actually about a day, and I've learned an awful lot. Without even fully going through this packet that they sent me, I learned most of it on my own. The app is going to be insanely useful. So once you're inside the app, you can see you've got all these things here on the left-hand side. The biggest things for me were the device area. You can see all the info about the device in here. Sync your data manually, update the firmware, set your watch clock. You've also got settings where you can tell it to actually set your notifications. So I've started receiving notifications about emails and messages, so make sure you come in here to turn that on. Google Fit information. You can set habits so that you can make sure you do certain things during the day. As an example, one of the default habits they give you is wear it, so just make sure you're wearing the watch. You see the first day I wore it for 3 hours. Today I've worn it for almost 20 hours. They give you a goal of 12 hours, and you can modify that. I also set a secondary goal of hitting 15,000 steps a day. I obviously have not done that yet today. And you have to get a certain amount of points, which means using the watch and doing things with it to be able to add more habits. But you can see a feed of all of your activity, all the things that you've done. It does sleep tracking. Inside of the playground area, you can turn on distance tracking and your instant message notification. You can even have it notify you when you've completed one of your goals to have you take a selfie. Not that I'm going to do that. And if there are certain apps that you want to get notifications from that you're not getting, you can turn this on and actually manually add them in here. And as far as the device itself, as you can see, I've got the time on. Swipe over, you see the heart rate, and I've been paying attention to it. It has been fairly accurate. Swipe over one more time, you get your the last activity you did. I walked 107 steps, and the total activity you've done for the day. It says 3146, and my Fitbit says almost 4300, so there's about 1,000 difference. It's been consistent the whole day. I'm guessing maybe I didn't have the watch on when I did have my Fitbit on at one point or something. I'll keep testing it out day by day though. But from the heart rate, you can swipe up and see all of the stuff you've done during the day, your steps and your calories burned. From the main screen, you can swipe up and get to your alarms or get to your stopwatch. And from any screen that you're on, if for example you go in to start a stopwatch, if you want to get back out of it, you're gonna have to swipe over, that'll stop it. but you can just double tap on it to go back to the home screen, and it'll save the state of whatever you're doing. As you can see there, it does have that 2 seconds that I just put on it. You're going to swipe over again though, and swipe again, and it wipes it all out. Double tap to go back home. If you get to your settings by swiping to the right, see connected, do not disturb mode if you want that, and restart watch. There's also an about down there that just gives you a little bit of info. Oh, I must have restarted the watch. And actually I accidentally restarted the watch, but that does lead to one of the issues I've had with this so far. As you can see, it has that little triangle there. That means we're not connected. And it's probably to do with the phone that I'm using. This is the Blue Vivo 5, and they have a very limited set of phones they say they support on their site. So if your device does become disconnected, it's gonna say connect to peak or set up new peak. I'm not gonna do that at the moment because what I found works best for me, if it does become disconnected and refuses to reconnect automatically, go into the can't find phone section and say unpair, hit yes. It says it's not paired, so we're gonna tap that so it starts to try to find devices, go into the device, and actually it just says connected. It automatically did it on its own. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. So it's a little finicky. The other thing I found kind of interesting, you see here at the home screen, it's kind of actually hard to see in this lighting unless I turn it a certain direction, and when I tap on it you can see the date there, just throwing that out there. There's a backlight though, but to get to the backlight you have to swipe up or down on the right hand side of the screen. So if I swipe up, the backlight comes on. You can kind of see it. There you can see the 2 lights there shining onto the screen. In the dark you can definitely see it, but I can't really show you that. So to get it to turn on, you swipe up there, and you swipe down to get it to go back off. Or you can swipe up from the top and back down to get it on and off. Sort of a weird mechanic there. And unfortunately not something you can do one-handed. So if I'm holding the baby, for instance, I can't exactly reach over and swipe that to make sure what time it is. Kind of wish there was like a flick gesture or a button or something I could just tap, but it does get the job done. And the backlight does only stay on for a short amount of time. But so far, just initial impressions of the device. I started out at 90% battery yesterday. I'm at 58% battery after 1 day. And that's just using it throughout the day. So I think you're looking at about 3 to 4 days of battery life. It seems to be fairly accurate in terms of step count and heart rate monitoring. I like the design. I like the fact that it is waterproof. I forgot to mention that earlier, so that's very, very nice. And I will say I did pair this up with the Nexus 5X briefly. I used it for a couple hours with that yesterday, and it did not have any connectivity issues. Anytime I would go out of range of it and then come back in, it would reconnect automatically. But with the Blue Vivo 5, for some reason, it just does not want to automatically reconnect. Might be a power saving issue on the Blue. It might be a problem with the watch itself or the Bluetooth or whatever. So if you do have it and you do have that kind of problem, just refer to what I showed earlier. Unpair it and just repair it within the app. I've tried that multiple times now and it has worked perfectly every time. But as far as an unboxing, I think that's going to be about all for me for today. I'll probably be doing a follow-up video up on this in a couple of weeks if you're interested in learning more about it. Hopefully I'll have the time to actually go out and run and get some real activity with this, start hitting some of these step goals with it. So let me know if there's anything more you'd like to see about this in the comment section below. I think I hit a lot of the high points though. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe to receive more when they become available. We'll see you again next time. I mean, controlling it entirely using the LG G4, this is very, very difficult. I mean, we do have a decent amount of pitch now.